Welcome to Two Balls and a Mic, and we are here in an upgraded studio since the last time we spoke to this guest. You can find him hosting the Mexican Soccer Show podcast, and another recurring guest, this time with a sweet beard, sweet long hair. We were still in a quarantine when we talked to him last, so please go ahead and welcome the great Cesar Hernandez. How are you, man?
Hey guys, doing well. I don't know. It's just, the fun thing is like I told myself, it's like, it's a pandemic. I'm not going out to games or anything. I was like, I'm just gonna let my hair grow out. And this is now the second video appearance I've had to make today. So I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm just like continue to let it grow out. But yeah, guys, nice to talk to you guys. Obviously, yeah, like as I was mentioning to you guys before we started recording, but yeah, you guys have obviously upgraded. I mean, look at that. I even see my name down there.
Oh yeah, hey man, the whole 9 yards. You can see yourself right there. It's kind of weird on the Zoom where you kind of only see yourself and not us when we talk. I mean, look, big money has gone in, but here we are.
That's where all the stimulus checks went. Just like is that went to all the...
That's where all my credit cards went.
That's where his check went to.
Like Tony's putting in the work, editing, and all that. I'm getting the credit score up.
I mean, technically, like you could potentially write that off as a tax write-off, right? Maybe potentially. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I told him. Like
start making money sometime.
Yeah.
Well, no. When you start making money is when they start taking money. So
never mind.
You gotta keep that low. But yes, Cesar. Since you want to go for it.
Yeah, you were saying Liga MX is back. I mean, how are you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, here's the thing. It's like kind of funny because like I feel like a lot of stuff that like Mexican media have been saying is just like, oh, it's like aburrido. There aren't enough goals. Like wow, like it's just a lot of people have been actually. Even though I've been pretty excited about Liga MX being back, I feel like there have been a lot of people who've been really critical of it for whatever reason. Maybe it's because we haven't seen as many goals. I would say a big reason for that is that players are recovering from COVID. Players are like really trying to adjust after long breaks in 2020. Goalkeepers have actually been doing a great job in Liga MX in early 2021, but I've been really enjoying it. It's obviously you feel a little conflicted with all sports. You kind of you feel a little off, seeing numerous positive COVID cases sometimes, and you kind of like wonder, it's just like, all right, if you just kind of like stop sports, obviously that would kind of, be significant and kind of like helping all of this stop. But nonetheless, I would be lying to you if I were to say that I'm not excited about Liga MX coming back, because I'm definitely excited about it returning. Looking forward to, just numerous competitions coming back. Tomorrow morning, by the time that some people might listen to this, the Club World Cup might already be over as well. So yeah, soccer is definitely back right now.
By the time people listen to this, Liga MX and CONCACAF will be the elite league, and the team to beat. And
what we're thinking, 7-0 over Bayern or 8-0?
Wow,
a little too much.
I think you were talking numbers earlier.
What would you give Tigres percentage wise? If there's a number that you're like, you know what, they have this percent chance of winning at beating Bayern Munich, what's that number in your head?
I'd give him a 30%. I know
that's exactly what I said. You know what, Cesar? There we go.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I know. I think that. I mean, are we going to talk about Club World Cup? Because I can.
Oh no! I mean, this is soccer potpourri.
Let's dive into it, man.
Soccer potpourri. All right. It's. I know how you guys feel, but it's just the more I dive into, the more I think and I was talking about it. I mean, I did a podcast earlier today and yesterday. I might have to do one tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I don't have to wake up too early to talk about this, but. You do feel like if there was ever a moment for Tigres to really capitalize this, on this opportunity, on this chance to really make a name for themselves on the world stage, it would be now. I mean, it's an aging squad. It's an aging team. Most of their best players are in their mid to late 30s, but, and Tuca Ferretti, their manager, he's a well-respected manager, but, also think that maybe he's a little past his prime, but, this is a team that's either at their peak or slightly past their peak. And you think, you know what? I know it's unlikely against Bayern Munich, but after what Tigres saw Rayados do to Liverpool in the last Club World Cup, because Rayados went toe to toe with them. Rayados, I would say, outplayed Liverpool. I know people were saying that, yeah, Liverpool didn't have their best options, but after seeing your crosstown rivals do that, maybe Tigres are thinking, why can't we do this too? Maybe Carlos Salcedo, who defeated Bayern Munich in the DFB Pokal Cup of 2018, who defeated Germany the 2018 World Cup,
Mhm.
and he was in starting 11 both those sides. Maybe he's thinking,
Hmm.
why can't we beat Bayern Munich? Why not? Hugo Ayala, who's maybe on the bench, maybe he'll start, who was part of that starting 11 for Mexico, who defeated Germany. Maybe he's also thinking, like, there's a chance here. I mean, I'm saying this, and I'm going to predict that Tigres are going to lose 2-1, but I still think there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. There's a chance there.
I love that. I love Salcedo, man. Like he took that picture.
Yeah.
He's throwing that M with this. And he's like, "La M es para Mexico, cabrones."
Yeah.
I love that.
So,
I
I
love
mean,
that.
I love it because he's one of the few Mexicans in that team. It's ironic that they're representing Mexico, but at the end of the day, like some of the players are not even from Mexico. But I give them a 23% chance.
Okay. That's still good, right?
It's
I
still
mean,
good.
like,
It's still really good.
if we're going up against Bayern Munich, like, for us to say between 23-30%, that's not bad. I'm happy with that, because I think as long as they don't embarrass themselves, and I don't think that they're going to embarrass themselves.
Yeah,
As long as it's a narrow loss, I think that's kind of what I'm predicting. I think it's going to be a 2-1 loss for them, but as long as they have a good showing, I mean, I'm happy with it. If anything else, they already made history. They qualified for the final.
Yeah.
No Liga MX team, so therefore no CONCACAF team, has done that in the Club World Cup. So I don't know. They got nothing to lose. As someone told me, they're playing with house money. They're fine.
I'm excited because I mean, at least the Club World Cup final does get a lot of coverage more than any of the other games. So I'm glad because people are finally gonna see how Tuca is as a coach.
Yeah.
In the European scale, like at least in Germany, they're gonna see like who's this short guy.
I would love
yelling at
Tuca
these players that are
like,
twice his size.
at Chelsea. Like somebody who would just say
Tuca
no,
at Chelsea.
no to Abramovich. Like no, Tuca. Caralho.
It's gonna be really
Así
funny.
chingada madre.
It's gonna be funny. It's like, for whatever reason, let's imagine like a strange world, like Tigres take like a 3-0 lead, and
Oh,
like
man.
let's just imagine that happens. Tigres take like a 3-0 lead, and then for whatever reason, let's say Gignac mistimes a pass. You're gonna see Tuca. He's just gonna be like furious, just like, just like yelling at you, like why did you do that? Because the man's never happy. He's never happy.
Yeah.
We'll finally get a smile out of him, I think, if he is proclaimed the manager of the best club in the world. I mean,
It'd be a great time to do it.
It's silly to think about it and to really compare it. Not necessarily the best comparison, but say, look, had Tigres been in the Libertadores, are you telling me that they would have won the Libertadores? They beat Palmeiras. If we want to just go based on head to head like that,
Yeah.
so by those standards, if Tigres win, is CONCACAF up there now? I mean, what is Mexico ranked in the top 15 right now? Like, I don't know.
I think they're actually number 9 or
9,
8 right
yeah.
now.
Mexico, la selección, yeah. And
I would guess I'm gonna say 9 or 8 on the FIFA. Brought to you
Yeah,
by
I know they're top
Coca-Cola.
10 for
I'm pretty
sure.
sure it's sponsored by Coca-Cola. For
Yeah.
that reason. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, so ninth, most recent ranking. Okay.
Yeah, and I think actually, I mean, I think that's kind of a deeper conversation right there. Is that I think a lot of Mexican soccer fans, if you can tell that I'm a Mexican soccer fan, a lot of us feel really self-conscious about Mexico and Liga MX because we feel as if, it's, whether it be the Mexican national team, whether it be Liga MX, that it's underrated, it's overlooked. We've seen with the national team, Mexico has been wanting to be an elite national team for quite some time, and we're really, really self-conscious about it, and we really, really get nervous about the quinto partido. Liga MX, we're stuck in this CONCACAF bubble, and we feel as if, maybe if Liga MX took part in the Libertadores, like you just mentioned right there with Libertadores, you're like, we could win the Libertadores. If Tigres could beat Palmeiras, maybe, León could do the same, Reales could do the same. So I think a bigger context about this game is that if Tigres were to have a good showing against Bayern Munich, or if Tigres were to miraculously, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if they were to beat Bayern Munich, it kind of like affirms this idea of us saying like, yeah, like Mexican soccer deserves more respect. Mexican soccer, even though a lot of it tends to live in a bubble and has its weird idiosyncratic rules, like it deserves to have more attention. And at the very least, there is more attention for it right now. I mean, this is definitely the last few days, like media wise, like that's definitely been the most busy I've been in quite some time.
Yeah, no,
With people
definitely.
wanting to know about things. There are a lot of people from abroad who don't know very much about Tigres, and a lot of that has to do with, maybe they with the channels that they have in Europe and abroad, they can catch MLS, they can catch other leagues, but it's a little more difficult to catch Liga MX because you don't have a league-wide deal when it comes to TV network. So I think it's a lot of people are unaware of what Liga MX has to offer, and then when you see it, when you see it being played, when you see a team like Tigres, who I would say, I mean, I would say that the most talented team in the Western Hemisphere, not just North America, but South America as well. You see, it's just like, whoa, there's something special here. So I think a lot of us kind of like feel that Mexican soccer could be elevated, or it's already elevated, but it's not given the opportunity to really shine. And I think it'd kind of justify our feelings if they were to do well against Bayern Munich.
Here's the thing with the Liga MX. It's one of the few leagues that has Liguilla. It's short tournaments instead of the long regular season, which a lot of people prefer. I personally like the league. I think it just gives a chance to everyone to make a run for it. 12 out of 18 teams technically qualify, and it's just. Then I lost my train of thought a little bit, but
I mean, it's exciting. Look, I got back into it last time we spoke, Cesar. I'll be honest, I wasn't into Liga MX. I felt bad for it, honestly. Like I missed it, but it just wasn't attractive. I gave it a chance, and I know what jornada we're jornada 5.
Yeah, I got what I was gonna say too. And you watch the Liga MX, and it's good quality soccer, man.
It is.
It's super entertaining.
It's fun. It's fun, and it is what it is. It is what it is. And it's good because we're watching, because of COVID or whatever you want to say, the parity even in the Premier League, where you have teams like West Ham or teams like Leicester, in the top flight, who are playing good, scrappy soccer, but at the end of the day, over here, it's still almost the same product because everybody's rusty, everybody has injuries, it's that COVID element.
The fact that with 3 straight wins, you can hop from like 16th place to like 5th place
crazy
at any point of the tournament. It's insane.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. I mean, that's why going back to like one of the bigger talking points in recent by like Mexican soccer media of saying like, oh, this is a boring Liga MX. It's like the reason why people think it's been boring so far is because because of the structure of Liga MX, where you have 2 seasons a year, because you have a lot of managers who like to play attack-minded soccer. When you don't see high-scoring games, people are just like, what's going on? Like, why didn't we just see a 5-4? Why didn't we just see a 3-0 win? So I think because that, people felt a little like there's something a little off. But nonetheless, for anybody who is listening who wants to get into Liga MX or get back into Liga MX, like it feels like what I like to say is just like the preseason mode of teams. It's kind of like gone away now. It's actually, you actually are having a lot of high scoring games now at this point, and yeah, I mean it's high quality soccer. It's actually incredibly high quality soccer. I mean, it's no EPL, but I do have a hard time waking up at like 8 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
I don't know how all you get like EPL nerds do that like every weekend. I watch like
have a regular job, Cesar.
Hey,
you wake up at 5:30 every morning.
It's a holiday. It's Christmas Day. Why am I up at 5 a.m.? Like, just why?
Oh man, I don't. Oh man, it's tough. I'm feeling tired just like watching Tigres every now and then at like when they like played at 6 a.m. I was like, is it worth it to watch Tigres?
This final's at 10 a.m. right? At least.
Yeah, 10? The final will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
That's a perfect time.
Look, man, I woke up at 3 a.m. for Korea, Japan, Mexico game. I'm a hardcore. Like if it's a good game, I will wake up and I'll be there.
Wake up, see us lose to the U.S., cry, go back to sleep.
True. How do you?
That's all I think about 2002.
Yeah. I was reminded of 2002 while I was at the Loyal office the other day, as Landon was passing by, and it's just weird to hold a grudge against somebody that you like. It's just so weird. But how do you consume soccer? Let's say somebody, like you said, or Liga MX per se. Obviously, for your job, you have to sit through the game sometimes, even though you don't want to. But generally speaking, how do you watch highlights? Do you watch every single game? Just as a glimpse to see like what do you pay attention? What should somebody start watching or what shows? Like I'll give my thing. I like Acción from Mexico. It's a wrap up game and son resúmenes and they show the goals and everything. I like that, but how do you do it?
I mean, what I do mostly, for the most part, is just like, my focus is more so of just like Mexican soccer in general. So, I mean, obviously, like do a little bit of American soccer too, but I mean, what I do a lot of is just, well, for one, just like keep tabs on all of the Mexicans in Europe. So most mornings, I'll see if there are any of the players like playing in Europe, and then I'll watch those games in the morning. Uh, Sometimes not able to catch all of them. Sometimes I'll catch highlights. Sometimes if you find like I don't know, like random like YouTube like people, they'll like give you like individual highlights for some of those players like Lainez or for Guardado, for Herrera. But then after that, I mean, it's mostly just keeping tabs on Liga MX. When the USL season comes back, I've been trying to keep tabs on USL, also MLS, which is kind of funny because it's the strange thing about me is that like the league that I watch the most, like say all the soccer leagues were happening right now. The league that I watched the most is Liga MX. After that, it would be MLS. After that, it would be any kind of competitions involving MLS and Liga MX. Then some USL, maybe some occasional like stuff from like the Europeos, the Mexicans abroad. So because it's weird because like all my like dudes that I play FIFA with, like I can't like chat soccer with them because they'll be like, "Hey, dude, you catch the Chelsea game?" I'm like, I have no idea about Chelsea. I was like, but that said, did you catch the CONCACAF Champions League draw? And they'll be like, nah. Why? Why am I gonna talk about the CONCACAF Champions
Barn
League
burner
draw?
1-1 draw San Luis Querétaro. Man, you should have seen it, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or like my buddy is like a hardcore like Manchester. I mean, actually, it's kind of funny. I mentioned Chelsea and then Manchester United. You got their jerseys in the background.
Yes, sir.
But, like one of my buddies is like who I play FIFA with. He's like a hardcore Manchester United fan, and he'll like talk to me about games, and I'll be like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, I haven't regularly followed them since Chicharito, and it's like so confusing for them because they think that like because I write about soccer and I'm a journalist that I follow those leagues, but just like I don't know, man. I need because of what I focus on with like Mexican soccer and American soccer, and I probably watched more USL and even like Nisa when it was on some of those like weird like apps. Like I've watched more of that than EPL, to be perfectly honest, in the last like couple of years. So sometimes it's tough to talk like high profile soccer with some of my friends, but for the most part, yeah, it's just a lot of Liga MX, a lot of MLS, a lot of those inter competitions, CCL, Copa MX. Well, Copa MX sort of was happening, USL, the stuff that my FIFA friends don't like to talk about.
Well, we love talking Mexican soccer, so you're safe here.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, I want to get a little bit into Cholos. I mean, they're having a pretty good season so far
Compared to last season.
compared to last season.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And what do you think is the reason due to that? You think it's the hype about bringing what's his name back?
Fidel.
Fidel Martinez. You think it's the hype?
Alegría.
Well, I think it's like it's a few different things. It's I think for one you had you had the manager Pablo Guede. When he first showed up, he was kind of synonymous with like attack-minded soccer, and through his attack-minded soccer, he's gonna be he might be poor defensively, but because of that, he's still going to compensate with his attack-minded efforts. He tried that last season, and when you looked at like the XG and their expected goals for Xolos last season, they actually finished pretty high XG-wise. The problem was they weren't finishing their shots, they weren't finishing those opportunities, they didn't qualify for the playoffs. So I think there's like a realization for Guede, and he was like, all right, I don't have the players for the attack-minded system that I want to use, so I'm going to be a little bit more practical. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. And I think we've been seeing that this season. So I think this season with Cholos, we're not seeing like them push forward. I mean, and I'm saying this after they defeated, what was it? Toluca 3-2.
Yeah.
And they scored 3 goals in like 30 minutes. But then after they scored those 3 goals, they sat back and then they allowed 2 goals. The next game after that, they took a lead over San Luis. The second half, they sat back and then they allowed the equalizer. I think a lot of fans are feeling like kind of like, I don't know, they're feeling a little bit weird about that because now with Xolos, like you're not going to, week after week, you're probably not going to consistently see really exciting soccer. But then again, this is Xolos. It's not America. It's not Tigres. You know, if they're undefeated, do you really have a lot to complain about? You know, like they're probably gonna finish in a playoff spot. You know, like there you go. You pulled up the table. Was it two wins, 3 draws?
Yeah.
You know, it's not beautiful soccer that they're playing, other than those 30 minutes against the Luca, but you know, it's enough to get the job done. And in the first few games, they needed Jonathan Orozco to do well in net, and their last couple of games, they needed Fidel Martinez to really, really like step up with his attack-minded efforts. So it's been interesting to see how Xolos have kind of evolved from being like a little more risk-taking last season to this season being a little more practical. And I think we're still going to see those brief moments of Guede throwing numbers forward, throwing like attack-minded players forward, but then they're going to sit back, and it's not going to be really exciting. But then again, I don't know. It's if they qualify for the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it gives them a shot. And I think, again, compared to last season, how they ended up the season, losing that final, which was, you know, their last hope to rescue what ended up being, you know, that end of the season, to now, to where, you know, you were struggling to score. Now you open the floodgates for scoring, but, you know, you got to keep that defensive, you know, back front.
Can't park the bus too early.
You can't park the bus. You can't play it like that. But you know what? It might give them a chance. They're sitting in 6th place right now. What's the most exciting team that you're actually like most interested in? Maybe because of the manager, new managers in with America up in.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing to bring up, because I feel like, I don't know, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, all right, like, 'cause that was a conversation we were having earlier. So you're watching, so you're like, all right, I've heard of Liga MX. I don't know much about Liga MX. What's a storyline that I should be keeping an eye on? What's like something that's interesting about Liga MX this season? And what's interesting about Liga MX this season are the 2 new incoming managers. Actually one that's technically returning, but he's been gone for 2 decades.
Yeah.
And the first one is Santiago Solari over at America. This is a person who coached at Real Madrid and is now coaching at America. You know, that's a big deal. I know, you know, Real Madrid fans would say like, oh, well, he basically made his way up through the system. He was like, did the whole like Real Madrid like C, then B, then he was like an interim. They gave him like a short amount of time with Real Madrid, but still, it's a player who not only had a successful European career, but who also coached, you know, arguably one of the best teams in the world. And now, I mean, he's still fairly young. Now he's over at America, but I think that's pretty exciting. I think it's unique. It's different. You know, it's not typical of Mexican soccer to see a Real Madrid coach, you know, coming over to the league. And it's already paid its dividends, because on loan, they have a player called Alvaro Fidalgo, who has yet to make his debut. But this is a 23-year-old kid. He's on loan from a team in the 2nd division, but he's a Real Madrid like academy product. You know, that's not typical to see that in Mexican soccer, to suddenly have this Real Madrid academy product on loan. So that's something to keep an eye on with America, and also with Rayados or Monterrey. The one thing to keep an eye on with them is the manager Javier Aguirre, who
El Vasco,
El Vasco. He'd been gone for 2 decades, was just having a great time in Europe. You know, he was coaching. He coached the Japanese national team. He coached Egypt. He coached all over La Liga, and he decided to come back. And I think on paper, he's probably the most well-respected Mexican manager at the moment. Yeah. And now he's in charge of one of the best teams in Liga MX. So it's been a little bit of a quiet start for Monterrey. But I think with those 2 teams, you see a potential project. You know, you see them making gradual progress. And I mean, with those 2 coaches, they're going to be, I mean, it's going to be really, really exciting to see what Monterrey or Rayados, because it's kind of interchangeable with their name, but what Rayados and America could do with their new managers.
It's a shame that there's no fans in the stands, because those Clásicos Regios would be insane right now.
I'm sorry, but I hate Aguirre.
You hate Aguirre? Why?
Who starts Conejo Pérez over Ochoa?
That was years
ago. Who starts Guille Franco over an up-and-coming Chicharito? On a World Cup that we could have had a chance.
Hey, he took us to the World Cup twice, man. Like
twice.
Because
he rescued Mexico.
We got there.
Like, I mean, he made us qualify, but then what do we do?
Like
Nothing.
when
Conejo Pérez,
when the U.S. needed to
called out Bofo.
When the U.S.
Conejo Pérez ran more than Bofo.
That's crazy.
Oh man, I don't know.
We were considering getting him when the U.S. Helped us with what's his name and beating Panama. In those times, everybody was saying like, "Hey, if you did it twice, Moscow can probably do it again."
Yeah.
I bet you anything that like like if whatever like well it's the Mexican national team. So if Tata loses 2 games, like people will be like, Aguirre, yeah, maybe Aguirre.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no, no.
Always back to the well. It's like
I like Tata.
for
I really like
for
him.
those
me too.
old school Mexican soccer fans. It was always Manolo Lapuente. ¿Sabes qué? A lo mejor el Don can have it one more time. He did beat Brazil in the Confederations Cup. I mean,
when Tuca filled in for a few games.
right, man. But what about the bloodline of the Mexican national team, Las Chivas, winning the first game finally after struggling for so long? It was
okay. Relax. They've been playing good.
5 jornadas.
They've been playing good. It's just the finishing was a little off. It's the first couple games that we actually get to have Macias fit, and he's already has 3 goals in a row.
He's scoring.
Yeah, he's been
man.
scoring,
Yeah.
and then I like that he can alternate on top between Vega and Macias and what's it, Chicote and then other players, and then we got Mayorga back, and he finally started him, who had a
He
great
killed it, man.
season.
He
He
killed
got a
it
great
last
season
game.
with Pumas last season, and he scored the winning goal at the end. So I mean, he's been playing great. I think Chivas is going to be the up and coming team right now on the trend, and I think so. I'm calling it, man, a championship already. I'm
What?
calling
Dude,
it.
you're
I'm
saying
calling
championship
it.
this season? That's
Nah.
too early. I don't know, man. They're
We got
gonna be a
semifinals
playoff
last
team.
season, and we already beat Leon. We got our revenge out of the way.
True.
Leon's been terrible this season, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
No, I mean, so has Chivas. So has Chivas.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. With
I'm being
Chivas,
really
because, like,
biased right now.
It's fine. It's fine. I love it.
No, I mean, it's interesting with Chivas just because, like, I mean, there's obviously that like Mexican connection, and obviously they have like a lot of like young, like up and coming players. Like you just look everywhere in the roster. We could even bring up like Beltran as well. Like I'm a big fan of Beltran. It looked like, after unfortunately he got COVID, last year, he said that he needed time to kind of like basically get his lungs back. I mean, it
By the
seemed
way,
like that's honestly what it was, to get his lungs back, and it's kind of,
Yeah.
and it kind of makes you worry about other players, but. I mean, you look at the squad. You have Antuna, who I think has been like such a catalyst in their attack too. Like I think he was honestly, I think he was probably one of the best Liga MX players from last season. But you have Vega. I like Huerta as well coming off the bench.
Yes.
I think he's pretty good too. But
Great season.
yeah, no, I
last
mean
season.
it's an interesting team, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm still unsure about them because I felt like. And I also felt like I was seeing good things about them. And when you really, really dive into the numbers and you dive into the XG and whatnot, you're like, all right, they're creating stuff. They're just not finishing their chances. But I don't know. I almost felt like I might even say that like they're even a little lucky against Leon too, because I felt like Leon should have potentially had a couple more goals. I felt like Leon could have potentially had some more opportunities, and I thought, was it Godinho yet?
Yeah, it was Godinho.
Yeah, I thought Godinho actually had a pretty good performance too, and kind of like helped stop a couple of dangerous opportunities. So, I mean, either way, I see Chivas as a playoff team, but title contenders, they gotta fix a lot of stuff. I don't even know if Vucetich, their manager, even knows what his real back line is, either. I think he's still trying to figure that out too. So I worry about Chivas, but I mean, they will be a playoff team. I feel like I can guarantee that, but. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
Here's what Chivas need to hire me as their coach or as a correspondent to Vucetich. I already know the starting lineup, what it has to be. And you have Godinho, who's going to be the next up-and-coming goalkeeper for the national team.
Okay.
You got to start Mayorga or Ponce, whoever's playing at the best level.
See, here you go. Or, come on, you got to know.
It's a competition. You're going to play the best player. Whoever's at the highest level is going to play. Right now, Mayorga played. He's scored. Right now, he has a starting spot. Then you got Sepúlveda. No more Pollo Briseño starting. No.
You don't like Pollo Briseño? You don't like his energy? You don't like his?
I love his energy. His energy can fulfill the whole team and
Hall of Fame energy.
Everything, and it can come from the bench. Like the energy, it's a locker room energy. Go for it. Just keep it on the bench. Sepúlveda, up and coming talent for Mexico, for the Mexican national team as well. He's really, really good at center back position, and he's pretty pacey. Then you got Iramier, who was arguably one of the best center backs last season.
Yeah.
Tata Martino called him up, and he refused to go for whatever reason, but he didn't want to go. Chapito, the most underrated right back in the whole Mexican league.
Got that golazo too.
Yeah, he scored the golazo too. I mean, I've always liked him as a right back, even when they kept him as a right wing or as a right mid. I'm like, no, he should be a right back. He can't finish that well. And then for some reason, Vucetich doesn't really like Beltran that much. And I hate it, but it should be Beltran and Molina at center mids. And that's where you can alternate on top. Where you have Brizuela, you have Antuna, you have Huerta, striker. Keep forgetting his name.
Hey, man, you can't be forgetting your name. You're the fucking boss. What's going on here?
Macias.
You're fired,
There
bro.
you go. Macias.
Starting Oribe.
Oribe?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oribe, man. And you have that experience still on the locker room to kind of keep the whole team like. It's a great team that we have. It's exciting. It's a lot of kids in it, but at the end of the day, hopefully Vucetich can handle it. If not, we'll call Turco up and he can probably take care of it.
True.
Hey, there's a lot of coaches right now who championship coaches who don't have a gig right now. So
And there's Macias. I mean, Almeida. I mean, if we had Almeida, oh man.
Diego Alonso, who's recently dropped from Inter Miami, he's also free as well. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of managers out there.
So how close are they? The U.S. I mean, how close are they? I mean, they've been making strides. There's a lot of players, exciting players. Paulo Arriola here from Chula Vista playing for Swans. I mean, you have U.S. nationals scoring golazos with Juve and in Barcelona. How close are they? Or are they surpassing? Are they? I don't even know. Like, where are we at with that?
I think it's an easy conversation because that's a conversation we've had before in the past. Because with right now, it's a conversation about potential and current level right now. Current level right now, Mexico is definitely superior to the U.S. men's national team. I think position by position and what we've seen in recent results, I think if there was literally a game right now with their best options, Mexico is definitely better. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were to not only get the win in the Nations League, but also in the Gold Cup, because more than likely the two will be going up against each other because it's inevitable. It's always Mexico versus the United States, but we always get excited about that. Now, if we're talking about potential, I mean, yeah, obviously the U.S. has more potential right now. There is, it's a very, very long list of, I mean, you have to admit it as a Mexico fan, it's exciting talent. You have to really, really recognize there's a lot of young, exciting talent within the U.S. men's national team. But that being said, like, they still have to fulfill that potential. In order for them to surpass Mexico, they have to fulfill that potential. But because we've had the same conversation with Mexico, I've lost track, to be honest. I've honestly really, really lost track of the amount of times that there have been. I mean, honestly, I could mention like 2 to 3 golden generations that Mexico have had, and it just hasn't worked out. I mean, it feels like it wasn't too long ago, and it was a long time ago. We're like, we have the Dos Santos brothers in Barcelona. We have Carlos Vela, in Arsenal. We're winning, youth World Cups. We're winning the Olympics, and you're like anything is possible. You're like we're gonna win the world. Like you thought, you didn't think that. And at that point, with some of those previous Mexican generations, what we were discussing wasn't, oh, we're going to be better than U.S. men's national. Because remember, there's been a little bit of a back and forth. There have been times we have to recognize that U.S. men's national team has been better.
Yeah.
But back in those days, it wasn't we're going to be better than U.S. men's national. We were thinking we're going to win the World Cup. I remember specifically thinking that. It's just like it's like, this is fantastic. Like, this is going to be incredible. It's going to be, and maybe what ended up happening, it's more so of a Mexican issue where it's been difficult to find that transition from really, really exciting potential to fulfilling that potential, when it comes to the Mexican national team. And maybe the U.S., they're really going to prove us wrong, and they are going to become a superpower, because if all those players fulfill their potential, by 2026, I mean, they're going to be quite dominant, I mean, I think there's no way of looking past that. But that being said, it's they still have to follow through with that potential. And like I said, we've had this conversation so many times beforehand with Mexico, and I guess my only real way of closing out this thought is that I as a Mexico fan, I am really, really grateful, to be honest, that that the U.S. is getting better, because I think the only way that Mexico can get better as a national team is if the U.S. men's national team gets better. And on another scale, the only way that the U.S. and Mexico can continue getting better is if Canada gets getting better,
Yeah.
if the Central American teams keep getting better, if the Caribbean sides keep getting better, because like it or not, we're stuck in this confederation. Like it or not, we're like stuck within this region. So the only way to really, really improve ourselves is to have our opposition get better. So even though there's a part of me as a Mexico fan who, I mean, obviously you root for, you root against the U.S. men's national team,
At all
but
costs.
if
Even
you're asking
even
me,
the
am I rooting?
women's.
Yeah, yeah, but if you're asking me, am I rooting against the U.S. men's national team, getting better? No, I'm not rooting. I want them to get better, because that's the and the U.S. men's national team should root for El Tri getting better too, because that's the only way both sides will continue getting better.
And what really worries me is pretty much, and it's a good segue into what we're seeing here in their own backyard, and it's the grassroots. It feels like what the U.S. is doing is scary because it's the long-term effects of what they're doing now, that for those that know, they're doing things right. Whereas Mexico just keeps doing the same thing over and over, and we just keep hoping for the same things over and over. But here in San Diego, we can see clearly like the machine's working. It's on its way, and it's not going to take too long for soccer in the U.S. to explode. And before the 2026 World Cup, I feel like it's going to surpass baseball, man. Like it has that chance. And
yeah, it might. You're already seeing hints of that. I thought was really fascinating was that there was a call up for Mexico's under 17 national team. And then, like usual, you're just like, you saw all the players. You're like, oh, they're players from Atlas, they're players from Chivas, Pumas, like the usual contenders. And then you saw 3 from LAFC. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. This is a brand new side in MLS, and not only is there 1 represented, but there's already 3 from LAFC. And then you kind of think like, if trends continue, and if you do have a lot of exciting like young, American talent, could it kind of be switched going forward, where maybe Mexico has to potentially rely on more Mexican American talent as opposed to domestic talent going forward? That's a possibility. That's something that might actually happen. So it is interesting. We'll see how they develop. We'll see if Mexico can, if they also do a better job of developing talent, because I think they obviously do, and there's obviously a lot of potential there. But I mean, that's a podcast in itself. Is that like, it's there aren't enough teams. There aren't enough teams, and the structure should be a little bit more widespread than it is right now.
And the structure that the U.S. has with USL is fantastic, man. Sometimes I think there's too many teams in any given conference. Coming into learning about USL, I'm loving the product. I'm loving on the on-field product itself, and it has potential. What have been some of your favorite parts? Because again, last time we talked about San Diego Loyal on the podcast was on the roundtable, but even before then, it was when things had just been suspended for the league. On field, off field, what have been your favorite things that Loyal has done? Just for you personally, maybe some things that maybe people generally think of that happen throughout the season.
I mean, what I think about them now is just like relevant more so to the upcoming season, and when I think of Loyal, I think of, well, their most recent signings. I'm going to say I like what they're doing, and that it seems like they've done their homework early, but it's more, I'm basing this off of the USL experts. I remember listening to an episode of the USL show, and they're just like, oh, wow, Loyal, they signed blah, 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 blah. And they were like really impressed. I'm like, all right, you guys tell me, because I'm still figuring this all out, If you ask me about Loyal, I could definitely tell you about their players, but I'm sure it's the same with you. Like I'm still very new to USL, which is exciting. Honestly, it's really, really exciting, because there are like so many teams and ideas and stadiums and rivalries and whatnot that I find really, really fascinating. But it seems like from those experts, and I've been trying to like I said, for those who don't listen to it, like I think the USL show has been excellent for me to try to like learn more about USL and keep tabs on other teams, just because like you guys mentioned, there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams
really are.
Yeah, so I think they do a good job. But it was interesting that they seem quite impressed with some of the signings that Loyal have made. And I try to like I guess that's what kind of stands out to me is that yeah, it seems like they're definitely doing their homework early, and from what I've tried to you know from my from my basic research from those players, it seems like I don't know. It seems like a number of them are like versatile, and I wonder if that's something that Loyal going to try to do this year. Is just try to have players who can play in not only just one position but a couple of different positions. So, I've I've been pretty happy with that so far, and we'll see how they do this season because I mean it's gonna be interesting because I mean last season we saw that yeah Landon and his side could quickly do well defensively, and they really had a strong back line. It looks like some of those key players are going to be coming back for them this season. But my question is more so going forward because we saw some of those attacking issues that they had last season. And now this season, you're not going to have Miguel Berry. You're not going to have Rubio Rubin.
Yes.
Alejandro Guido. Well, actually, now that I think about it out loud, maybe he's that right mid that's potentially missing. Who knows what's happening? But apparently he's back to LAFC. So you're wondering what's going to happen going forward. Literally going forward, with Loyal, and whether some of the new players are going to continue what Loyal were doing last season. Maybe it's going to be altered. Are we still going to see that 4-4-2 that transitions into like a 3-5-2, 3-4-3 in attack? Are we going to see maybe some new signings that are going to change things up? Because I'm really confident about what Loyal going to do defensively, but I'm really interested to see how these new players adapt to Landon's attack.
And being able to see a lot of the play live, you can really tell that they love playing on that versatility of the positions.
Yeah.
Jack Metcalf, just you could put him anywhere, and he's gonna give you 100%, and he's gonna play well.
But you just signed Corey Herzog.
Corey Herzog,
who you're hoping is going to be to solve the finishing issues that we had last season.
And
apparently that dude's also really into smoothies. I like when they signed him.
And Dr. Pepper.
I was like, dude, this guy's really into smoothies.
Yeah. And
that is my analysis of Corey Herzog. And he scores goals. Apparently,
it's a professional analysis. I love it. But I mean, for when I saw Corey play here at USD, I immediately just pointed him out as that guy is. I can't stand that guy. I can't stand him, and I just can't stand him. He just mouthed off to everything and everybody. And now that he's with San Diego Loyal, welcome, and I love having you on the team. And
that's good.
That's what you want.
I feel like
that's what you want.
For a lot of soccer fans, it's just like for those players that you really hate, you absolutely love it when they come to your team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like those kinds of players, it's just like they are such like assets, for your squad, mentally, even literally like physically sometimes too, when they're like trying to be like a little like dirty or rough on the field. But those players, like, if you really hate them, like when you're watching them, like when they come to your team, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have him on Loyal now. So welcome again. Yeah. You're a fantastic player, Corey. Can't wait to see more tap-ins and strikes.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts though on Loyal, because I think like I did a lot. I mean, just because like I'm a little paranoid, so like when it comes to pandemic stuff, so I definitely like stay here at home for the most part when it comes to soccer coverage. But one thing I did really miss is just watching Loyal live. So like what stood out to you for you guys, like who were actually there at the stadium, like catching a lot of those games? Because I was watching from home, I was taking notes, but obviously you guys saw a lot more than I did when it comes to Loyal.
There's a question for Tony. He's the one that got to go to the games.
Yeah, I mean, we hosted watch-alongs, and you were gracious enough to host
those
watch-alongs through Zoom. But no, I mean, I can tell that the team just got it. They knew what they were playing for. They knew that first 1-1 match, again, Jack Metcalf told me after that game, hey, we're going to come back and we're going to win one for you guys. Yeah. And that was the mentality going into that Vegas match, after the Vegas match. And then they kept that same mentality throughout. And then when they came back, they were focused, they were energized, they knew what they wanted, they had a goal in mind. Sometimes it seemed like they just didn't know how to come together as a team that Landon wanted, in a sense.
It's the
but
first season though.
it's
The
the
first
first,
season.
yeah,
They had and
exactly.
you literally had a pandemic, like
100%. And then that's when
yeah,
the loans and Guido
yeah,
and everybody coming in just molded that team later into the season, and you can really tell that the core of the team was there,
yeah,
and the level of play, man, I cannot emphasize that enough. On TV, it does not make it justice. The level of play of some of these guys, Charlie Adams, man, his touch, his shot, it's a next level. And those are little things that, the nuances on field that you don't really get to see. But this team just from day one got it, and they were, let's say, emotionally driven, but you can tell like emotions ran high sometimes. Now, I'm not even talking about any of the Black Lives Matter, any of that.
yeah.
Even
Of course.
before then, you can tell that's the players cared and they wanted to play for Landon, for Nate, for the city, for what it meant, and all props. And I can sit here and criticize because, granted, sure they put a logo upside down. Great. I personally didn't care about that, but sure. But it's
speaking just soccer.
yeah.
At first they were struggling in scoring goals. That was their main thing. Like you said,
Right.
defensively they were solid, but nobody was just putting the ball through the net. And then here comes Rubio Rubin and Guido, who kind of in a way fixed that issue that they were having up on top. That chemistry started flowing. The ball started flowing around. Everyone starting scoring goals. That last game against
Phoenix
Phoenix,
Phoenix.
they-
Oh man, that
Loyola was
thrashing.
kicking their ass.
Thrashing.
yeah, that was brilliant.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
that incident happened and they ended up forfeiting and whatnot. But they would have probably, hopefully, made playoffs.
And they had already beat Phoenix
Had they made
Phoenix.
playoffs, they would have made a run for the tournament for winning it.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what excites me about this season. Like, let's not forget how we ended. We ended really strong, beating pretty much the champions.
Yeah.
So it's exciting stuff. And it's not the same team, but it's the same core of players. And it's Landon, Nate Miller. So it's exciting to see what they're gonna bring this next season.
And it feels like a destination.
Yeah.
I mean, again, new to USL and whatnot, but it feels like people want to be here, and it's a place to go, and it's an exciting project. Just like I would say, Austin is an exciting project. People have eyes on San Diego.
Again, San Diego's an attractive city. A lot of people
Yeah.
want to live here too.
Yeah, 100%.
So
And it is still high quality. So I mean, that's something that it took me a while to realize that someone who only paid attention to, I mean, just first division soccer all over the place, and then I really didn't pay attention to USL or NISA. Like I'm going to include NISA in this too, until the teams like showed up in San Diego. And what's really really exciting about it is just like sometimes you feel a little, I don't know whether you go as a fan, whether you go as media, there's a literal physical and kind of like, I don't know, there's like there's a distance between you and those players. And yeah, it's like high quality soccer within Liga MX, MLS, Mexican National League, blah blah blah. And what you don't realize is that a lot of that is also seen in NISA and USL, but you're right there. Whether it be watching a Loyal game, whether it be watching a NISA game, whether you're a reporter, and you realize like, oh my god, a lot of these players like they're capable of playing at an extremely high level, and there's something really exciting about USL that sometimes it's just like, or for Loyal, it's just like you and just like a few other thousand people like crammed into the stadium, and you're just like, this is incredibly like high quality soccer that you're watching right here, just like 10, 15, 20 yards away from you, and I think it speaks volumes too about how there's an immense amount of talent in this country. There really aren't enough teams. Really aren't enough teams. And you look at the resumes for some of these players too. That's something I also didn't realize until I started watching USL NISA. You're like, you have a youth national team player over here, someone who, trained with like a European team abroad. There's a player who played Liga MX over here, and they make up a lot of these USL, and they make up a lot of these like NISA teams. You realize just like, geez, there's a lot of high quality talent in there. There's got to be more teams, So, yeah, I think for those who haven't given USL a chance, like please do, because there's something really really exciting about watching high quality soccer, but just genuinely up close, And I know it's difficult, in our modern times right now because you can't exactly go to stadiums, but at the very least, like watch it on TV when the new season starts. Really give it a chance because it really catches you off guard how, and maybe that's like my own fault too. Before I started watching these in USL, thinking that it was just like, oh, it's in quote, it's lower league soccer. It's just it's not good. But then you give it a chance. You're just like, no, this is exceptional stuff. It's definitely exceptional
So
soccer.
what does it for me is knowing that Drogba even played in this league.
Yeah. He founded a
right,
team.
yeah,
He
yeah.
founded
He found
Phoenix.
the team, yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
if he's played in it, I mean, for me, I think Omar Bravo has played in this league as well. So for me, it's like it's been a lot of great players that has played in this league, and you find hidden gems like Alfonso Davis, like he's
Yeah,
playing the
exactly.
USL,
Yeah.
and now
But
he's
didn't Torrado played for who do you play in the Midwest or somewhere in the Midwest?
That's
it's a lot of Mexican
played-
players, yeah.
I think Torrado played
Indy
for
11.
11.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Played for Indy 11 in 2016 through 17. Look at that. Jeez.
So who's the Mexican national team player who's going to play in USL?
Ooh.
I mean, you're.
You know what? You know what? I've always, man, I wanted to talk to Landon and tell him, hey, man, there's this player in Chivas he's not cutting it. You might get him on a loan for really cheap.
Oh,
He's
really?
super talented.
Oh yeah, tell me more,
Trophies.
Chiva.
Trophies.
Trophies?
Oh,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in
Imagine?
San Jose now. They already gave him the 9.
Yeah, yeah.
Or was it 10? I forget. They already gave him like a 9 or 10 over there in San Jose.
I mean, that's Almeida's team, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Like,
why.
I mean, he has Fierro, Alanis, trophies now. Like,
I'm like so excited for that Open Cup now, though. Like it's insane.
It's limited, but it's still going to be an open
Yeah.
cup.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm, one of the many things that I'm looking forward to when everything goes hopefully back to normal soon. That's what we said 6 months, 9 months, whatever ago.
a year ago.
A year ago. But no, I mean it's very exciting, the prospect of having big clubs, MLS clubs, go through San Diego and see that competition, because the lower leagues here in the U.S., like you're saying, there is a lot of talent. We've been exposed to UPSL teams that we see and that are just like, what? Where did you find this guy? Like, oh, this guy just did trials up in Germany and he's waiting for a call if either he's going to go or stay. And if he stays, you'll see him on Sunday on East Lake Soccer. Like, great.
Or you think about just like, for example, like the Alianza program, where just like there are guys who have never really had a chance, whether it be due to financial constraints or whether it be, the way that like American soccer is structured, just never really given an opportunity. And then players that come out of that are like Jonathan Gonzalez, who plays for Rayados, Jorge Villafaña, who's won titles in Liga MX and in MLS, Santiago Munoz recently from Texas. He, just this Mexican-American kid. And now, he just recently made his Liga MX debut. He's recently scored for Santos. He's still doing the whole flirty thing where he's just like, well, I'm gonna play for Mexico, US, who knows? Like, like there's a lot of undiscovered talent on there. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there for
What a
players.
great name to have as a soccer player, Santiago Munoz.
Santiago Munoz, right? Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
didn't you play Newcastle and Real Madrid?
I mean, we spoke to coaching staff at San Diego Loyal who said there might be some undiscovered talent, closer than you think.
Talking about Matt Hall. Talking about yourself right now.
I mean, I didn't say anything, but I think
man.
I have a chance. I have an actual like. Wouldn't that be
Hey,
a
So you guys have a higher
Look,
chance of
Cesar.
beating Bayern Munich than you making Loyal, bro.
Hey, what? Maybe the Soccers and Loyal are a little intertwined. So maybe Soccers are looking at or Loyals are looking at soccer and be like, oh, maybe one day we'll have like a media game. And I mean,
Yes.
maybe at the very least,
Yes.
right there.
Yeah,
given
no,
opportunity,
100%. They'll
What
see.
if, what if
Wow.
you're given your opportunity, you have a shutout, and they're just like, you gotta call them up, right?
All I want them to say is like, "Wow, you really did used to be good, didn't you?" Cool. Cool. All right. But no. Hopefully, I'll get my chance, and you'll get the exclusive, Cesar,
there you
to
go,
write
yeah.
it up. ESPN, just throw it up wherever you want to.
We'll send clips on Instagram.
In these days, man, like what are some of the best ways to support writers such as yourself? Obviously tracking down your articles and whatnot, but what are some of the best ways to support you in these times? Obviously, with soccer ramping up, you say there's a little bit more work now, a little bit more to talk
Yeah.
about, but what are some ways that people, like everyday people, just go out and support you guys?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just, I mean, for the most part, it's just like retweeting articles, retweeting our work, highlighting our work, even something as simple as just like, I don't know, like a DM that's just like, hey, like, I like that podcast appearance, or I like that other podcast. I mean, that's just really what keeps us going, So I think just, I think that's a significant amount of help. I mean, for me, I've been doing a little more work behind the scenes in the last few months. Written work, I mean, for a lot of us, unfortunately, for a lot of writers, has really decreased, for obvious reasons. But it looks like as 2021 goes along, there'll be more opportunities for us. So I think for some of the people that I used to write for, I think you'll be seeing more of that in the next few months. So I think. Yeah, whenever I post those articles, just give them a retweet, give them a like, maybe just like some constructive criticism too. I appreciate constructive criticism, because sometimes people just give you praise, but they won't be like, hey, you should have done a better job with this. I didn't like that. Your thoughts on this thing was bad. Your thoughts on that was like terrible. So I appreciate constructive criticism as well. Like, please, like, send that to me too. I appreciate that sometimes even more than just praise. But yeah, just if it wasn't for any of you out there, I wouldn't be making a living off this. So thanks to all of you out there. Yeah.
100%. Have you talking about things that happened over the pandemic? Obviously things change. Big change for you, your tiny grill.
My tiny grill.
Your tiny grill.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
we
put
need
that
more
in the
people.
rundown. I was like, oh yeah, what are we going to talk about today? And then you listed like 16 things, and then you're like,
Tiny grill. Tiny grill. I mean, this is genius. And again, for anybody who's, maybe indoors or in a smaller space, or even if you're in a large space, tiny grill. Tell us about your tiny grill.
Tiny grill. Well, see, here's the thing. Once again, I'm a paranoid person, so I don't really leave my house that often. Recent months, the only time I really go out is just like when I go to the store, or like I usually go on like jogs most mornings, or I just like to I don't know, like hang out around the neighborhood. But like I realized it's like, all right, I gotta make my like apartment like a little bit, I don't know, more bearable, because sometimes you get a little stir crazy, because most weekends like to go out and get like pints with friends, hang out, get some food. Obviously can't do that anymore. So yeah. Me and my girlfriend, I guess actually my fiance now, we're like her and I, we bought this tiny grill. Honestly, it's like that big. I don't know. I don't even know. I forgot where we even got it from, to be perfectly honest. Actually, I spent like months trying to do like research on like different tiny grills, and then I finally found this one where you have like a tiny little like tank that you put in. But man, it's been fantastic. Just like having drinks on the porch, like just like grilling, like just like whatever we have in the fridge. And yeah, man, it's been nice, especially in like San Diego too, where it's like mostly sunny for the most part. So yeah, solid investment right there. Just chilling by myself and just having drinks, and then just trying to like, although it's like a little weird because I don't get the best like kind of like perspective of the TV. So sometimes I'm like watching soccer, I have to kind of like grill and like do that. But yeah, man, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
And speaking of investments, some people invest in stocks like GameStop and all that. Some people
I invested $1 in that. It's been terrible, but
so you're a millionaire. Congratulations, Cesar. Congratulations.
Cesar the millionaire. Yeah.
$1 is down to like 10 cents now.
Something that I invest in and I shouldn't. It's a lot of like Netflix accounts, Hulu accounts, and all that. Mm-hmm. I recently registered. I subscribed to Peacock as well to watch Premier League games, and The Office is now on Peacock. Have you subscribed to Peacock?
Yeah, we get it through our cable. Luckily, we got it through our cable subscribers. So that's been kind of nice. But yeah, it's been cool watching all of the. What is it? It was like The Office for diehard fans only, and then and like Kimberly, my girlfriend, we're just like, all right, whatever, let's watch this. And then because we watched every episode like 50 times, we're like, oh, you can catch like little glimpses of like extra stuff that they've added in. So that's actually been kind of cool. We've appreciated that. So like, this feels like a plugin for like for Peacock or whatever. Are they sponsoring us? They're going to give us some money. Should we like use offer code 2 balls and I'm like,
well, I mean, we're trying to get Manscaped apparently to sponsor. Some people have tagged us.
Has that been? You guys should like hit up some like local like some local breweries and whatnot and be like, hey, like let's try to figure this out.
Looking at Machete in National City, perhaps, just the connection is there. Machete, works out perfectly. Also check out Tacos El Vaquero. Have you made that out to Tacos El Vaquero? Tacos El Vaquero.
No, dude, but they're like right in front of like you guys have posted photos and whatnot. They're right in front of like 3 Punk, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right there.
So probably the best tacos you'll have in San Diego, man.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we know about tacos.
I'm
But
still trying to figure that out. Yeah.
we're not sponsored by Peacock, but it is a good segue into something that we also had in that rundown of what we were thinking of. Of course, you are the most famous for hating Jim Halpert from The Office for some strange reason. It's very controversial, but we thought
controversial.
It's absolutely controversial and
God.
insane. And it's
This is when this turns into football picante. I hate football picante, but like this is when it like turns into football picante. When I'm just like, no, it's like no, we can't. Jim, he's not a good character.
okay. So to settle this, to see exactly where your head is at, exactly, so we can gauge, where you're coming from. Let's go ahead and just do some rankings of the characters of The Office. So we have S tier, which is just the best of the best, the cream of the crop. You have A, B, C, D. I think we should start with, of course, Michael Scott. For you, where does Michael Scott rank? And I have.
Okay. See, I've always been confused by the S A B C D. I mean, it's like self-explanatory. So like, what do they stand for? It's just like super, like
God tier. Let's just put God tier.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we have to include. I guess we're gonna go through this one by one. Okay. Michael is definitely God tier because, like, obviously, like.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a little like cringeworthy in like the first season, but he gets better as a person. But he still has those like good moments where you kind of like root for him, and he's kind of like I don't know. He's definitely a man child, but he has good intentions.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I feel like the character of Michael Scott got retired at the good time. Cool. We have Oscar.
And you guys let me know your thoughts too. I like after
This falls just on you 100%, Cesar. It's 100% your take.
Oscar. I feel like he's a B plus.
A B plus
like
player.
He's too.
Right.
I don't know, man. He's too pretentious. Like he has his moments, and like you kind of root for him sometimes, but he definitely thinks he's better than everybody else in the entire show.
Yeah,
I put him on a B too.
That's solid.
He's not a bad dude, but he thinks he's better than everybody else. Like,
yeah.
We'll get to it later, but I have reservations of a character in a show being named the name of the actual person. I've always found that weird.
Yeah.
And then we have David Wallace. David Wallace, big man. David Wallace.
I don't know. He's pretty neutral to me. I feel like I put him at a C.
Okay.
Just because I feel like me, I feel like there are certain characters from The Office where like they're all either already ridiculous or after you see them for like 10 plus episodes, and they go into the ridiculous kind of like slide. And he doesn't do that until like late on in the series when he tries selling what is it called? Suck it?
Suck it. Suck it.
And he has this like kid playing like the
drums,
theme on, but other than that, he's like kind of like I don't know. He's like a power hungry dude. Yeah, C.
Yeah, C.
All right.
I agree.
We have Gabe. Gabe, who's I think is one of the underrated characters
One
in
of
The
my
Office.
least favorite characters.
Least favorite?
Yeah.
The acting job is underrated, I feel. Some of his bits are just weird and strange, but funny. Not like, okay, I shouldn't influence at all. I'm Cesar, this is your list.
I'll put him at a. He is pretty funny. Like some of the stuff that he says. You know what? I'm gonna put him at an A. I think he's actually. I think he's quite funny.
Wow.
I think he's quite funny. Like I think it's I don't know. He's definitely like the butt of the joke sometimes, and he's hilarious. I think he's hilarious.
He takes it well sometimes. He takes things well in a way that Andy would never.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of putting it.
Wow.
This is a very I like this. Wow, this is a deep conversation. All right, let's just put Jim at a D, right? I mean, Jim goes.
Thank you.
This is just disgusting. D for disgusting. Jim Halpert at a D. But do you really would a D? Do you really? I mean, if we're being honest here.
He proposed to his girlfriend at a gas station. He bought a house without telling Pam. He decided to get a job without and didn't really tell her, and was pretty secretive about it, and she had to quit her dream situation just to appease Jim.
She wasn't that good of an artist.
He isn't thinking enough about his wife here. Pam has had to really really give in to what Jim has wanted. Also, he is the worst employee by far in the definitely by far. he's terrible at his job, and he's like open about it as well. Like there's nothing really, and he makes fun of everybody too. Like he's definitely a bully if you really think about it.
So deep.
Wow.
So deep. Got it. Got it.
You put Gabe at an A.
I think that's the new controversy right now. All right, so Jim, obviously, not a family favorite over at the Hernandez residence.
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin.
Oh,
Kevin dropped the chili.
Give my boy a good
Broke my
score.
heart.
Yeah, I think Kevin's either at A or B. I think it's like pretty self-explanatory. I don't know. I'll put him at an A. Yeah.
All right.
I love it.
All right.
He's my boy.
Yeah.
All right. We have Jesus.
Saber. What's her name?
Is it Joan? It's not. Is it Joan?
Joan.
Joan. Yeah.
Is it Joan? Yeah, I forget her name. We'll put her at. I have to look up her name. I think it is Joan. We'll at a C. I don't know. I don't feel too strongly about her. I don't know. Like, I mean, props to her for being like a good businesswoman, but like, I don't know. She didn't really provide too many laughs. She wasn't exactly dislikable. I feel pretty like, I don't know, ambivalent about her. She didn't to see.
Just because I'm curious, I'm gonna skip to Robert California.
Yeah, Robert's a god tier.
Oh
Wow. Okay.
So you think Robert California got it right? I mean, after Michael, they went through a couple, and they'll be later on the list. But okay.
Yeah, he's absolutely ridiculous and hilarious.
True.
I love Robert California. Yeah.
His decision making is a little off. But...
I love that. Like months after he finished being Robert California, he went into doing the Blacklist. So like the first couple of episodes, it was just weird seeing him there. Like, oh, it's Robert California.
Oh, it's weird. Every time I see him, I was like, that's Robert California. Like, yeah, that's all I see.
All right, so we have Phyllis. Phyllis down here. I mean, she has her moments.
Yeah, I don't know, B or C. I'll put her at a B.
All right, I think we're being nice.
A feel good character.
Nelly.
Nelly. I guess we have a lot to go. I won't make this too long. All right, we'll put her at a C.
All right. Este vato.
What's his name?
Este vato.
What's his name? Charles Minor.
Charles Minor. Yes.
I'm pretty sure you love him. He hated Jim.
He did. He did hate Jim.
He did hate. That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe a C as well. Don't have strong feelings about him. I don't dislike him. Don't like.
Man, putting Jim in his place only gets you to a C.
Yeah.
Yikes. Este vato. We just Clark. There we go.
Clark. Dwight Jr. He is a D. I don't find him very funny. They clearly just brought him in just for like, I know they were like desperate for like young actors like in the last couple seasons.
True.
It's just I don't know. Was never really found him that funny or interesting.
No, you got Mo.
Mose.
Oh yeah, God tier. Yeah.
God tier. Okay.
Yeah, Mose is God tier. Yeah.
If Peacock has to come out with a Mo show, right? Like that's why.
Mo
Well,
show.
they tried
creating.
They tried creating but it just didn't do well or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. They tried creating a pilot. It was called it was like The Farm or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, and it was gonna be exciting, but it just never came to fruition. It was
So what we
sad.
should do
Did he
really
get to marry
quickly
the-
is I know we got more names to go through. Really quickly, look up backdoor pilot The Office because what they did is they tried to turn one of the episodes about Dwight into basically a pilot for like a series about him on the farm, and then when you rewatch it, you're like, oh yeah, there you go. They clearly, and it's an actual episode, and you can once you rewatch it, you're like, oh, they obviously wanted to make this into its own side thing, but it just didn't work out.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah.
See, now you're doing plugs for Peacock.
Right, yeah.
All right, let's get through some of these. Hank, security guard Hank, rest in peace.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely God tier. Just like, how could you dislike him? He was like, he was probably the most rational, most normal like figure within like the entire office. Yes, you gotta put him in a God tier. And he was no nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Packer, Todd Packer.
Annoying D.
I can see that. Stanley himself, whose real name is Lindsay.
That's right. Yeah. I'll put him at an A.
Yes,
Solid. Guinness, I can't see that close. Help.
Holly.
There we go.
She is a C or D for me.
Hmm.
You know what? Let's put her at a D because I
Ooh.
don't, because she was like messing with like Michael a little bit, and then
True.
like sometimes she tried to be serious at her job, and then sometimes she
Yeah.
goofed around too much.
She
and it was
played.
just
She
like,
played
well,
too much, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
really did. She really did. All right,
Now we
so
got Pam.
Pam. So you,
Pam's definitely A. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Close to God tier, but I don't know.
seem like a
Wow.
Pam sympathizer. Seem to forget that she started talking to the sound guy. I mean,
True.
two-timing Roy. Little hussy.
She didn't actually cheat on him though.
Played volleyball when she was probably pregnant. Or don't, I mean, she probably shouldn't have been out there.
She didn't buy a house without telling Jim though.
She did sell it.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
true. That's true.
A tier. For secretarial duties, A tier. The way she went around getting Michael to
Okay.
be busy, I'll
Okay.
give it.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Daryl's definitely God tier A. I don't know. He's close.
Those last seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go with an A. I'll go with an
good
A for him. I
spot.
think that's still
That's
pretty
good.
good. But yeah, I think an A.
What about Roy?
Obviously a D. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Dwight Schrute himself.
Okay.
Top of the list. Top of the list. There we go.
God
All right.
tier. I
Here we
agree.
go.
Yeah.
I agree.
Here, Caesar. Dwight. I mean, you're a cat lover, right? Right,
Yeah, of
Caesar.
course.
I mean,
I know where you're going.
what type of a monster would purposefully, maybe by accident, who knows, allegedly freeze a cat? I mean, we have to be honest here. Let's be rational. This is a cat murderer. You would not let your precious baby in the hands of Dwight, would you? And if you would, I mean,
We would actually have to talk. I mean, I don't know about Sprinkles. I believe that was the name of the cat. We'd have to talk to the Sprinkles lawyers to see what Sprinkles has to say. but there is no actual proof, regardless of what Dwight has said. We didn't see any.
Oh,
there was
man.
documentary footage.
Also, I think he's just like the most consistent, reliable figure, and I think he's willing to help out. Like the only person who's like willing to help out, even like the people that he entirely like dislikes within the office too. And
He's
I
hard
think
worker.
you gotta respect that. Yeah.
He brought a gun to the office.
He did.
Yeah, I know that was a little
That
weird
was-
too. But that makes it funny. So I'm putting him the God
He has a
tier.
bunch of
All right.
weapons hidden all over the
This is your
office.
list, Caesar. We'll allow it. What about his adulterous lady of the night or back room, Angela?
Yeah, she's at a C. She's at a C.
Oh, put her too high. Aaron.
Aaron, she's at a B.
Yeah, just can't compete as a secretary with Pam. Who am I looking? Oh, is that Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration?
Yeah, he's at a C. I feel like kind of indifferent about him.
Plop.
And yeah, he's at a D for me.
All right, Karen, Rashida Jones, man.
I don't know. Well, she never really got. I feel like you got to give her credit for not like becoming ridiculous like other people. But then again, I don't know. You know what? She didn't do anything wrong. She's at a B for me. I don't think
I like
she-
it. No,
I
yeah,
like-
yeah,
she didn't do
yeah.
anything
Turn
wrong. She
around.
was a normal
Yeah.
I
person.
think there was nothing to put her at an A or God tier level, but just like I
Yeah.
don't know, she was like nice and like good to Jim, and Jim
was
was
normal.
like I don't know.
Yeah, it's that jackass Jim again, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim.
Yeah, there you
Jim.
go. That's the common denominator. Yeah.
Kelly Kapoor.
Oh, she's definitely at an A tier. Yeah.
Interesting. Would you put an A, Chiva? Or would you put Kelly?
Kelly, I think B or an A.
Okay. Does Fire Guy go next to him? Her?
Ryan. Ooh.
Ryan.
I would have invested in Wolf. Is all.
I think I'll put him at a. I'll put him at a. Put him at a C.
It's a young entrepreneur, man.
Very underrated, I feel. Meredith.
Meredith,
Yeah,
yes,
she is
yeah. I
underrated.
think she goes to A. Yeah.
100%.
She's funny, man.
All right, Creed. We were talking about
Creed.
people named by the
Oh,
same
come
character.
on.
This dude was literally him playing himself at the end of the day, it turns out. Creed.
Yeah, he goes to God tier. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
100%. I confused once.
Jan?
Levinson.
Jan Levinson.
Uh,
I confused
B.
moms.
maybe C.
I can see it.
She was horrible,
Yeah,
Michael.
C. Yeah.
Nard Dog. You know, he went to Princeton, and he wasn't.
He had moments of A, but he's gonna have to go down to a B for me. got a little annoying.
Get a little annoying. I'm just gonna say Will Ferrell because that's who was there. It was just Will Ferrell.
Nard Dog got a
well,
B.
Was that too high or too low?
He did come out with one of the best quotes in the whole show.
I mean, he's good, but I think he just got a little on my nerves. A little bit, like, I don't know. I think
He was-
just got, and then he became really unlikable when he was dating Aaron.
Aaron.
And it was just like,
Poor Aaron.
Okay,
Yeah,
B.
didn't
I'll
deserve-
give- I'll give you
she
the-
didn't
I'll give you
deserve
the
that.
B.
Where would you put Will Ferrell?
C. I feel indifferent about him. Like he wasn't there long enough. Yeah.
And finally,
Toby.
HR
Yeah,
Toby.
That's
The
God
Scranton,
tier.
the Scranton Strangler.
No, he was there. He tried it.
Some people believe that. Yeah, definitely God tier.
God tier, 100%. Always trust your HR. Unfortunately for us, we don't have HR here. God bless HR. Yeah, that's a really solid list. Challenge
Yeah.
anybody to come up with a better list than this. But I think that's a nice little place to go and subscribe to Peacock. We don't have a promo code for that. But want to go ahead and say thank you, Cesar, for coming
Yeah,
and
of course.
joining us once again. You want to let the good people out there know where they can find you, where to follow you, and anything you have coming up.
Yeah, no, you can follow me. Yeah, just like at Cesar H Football on Twitter. You can see me over on Instagram too. I guess if you follow me on Instagram, that's more so of like cat and tiny barbecue stuff. But on Twitter, it's more so just Mexican soccer. You know, a little MLS, a little American soccer. You know, once Loyal come back, you know, a lot of Loyal stuff too. I usually like live tweet all that stuff. Plenty of stuff about Cholos too. So yeah, mostly Mexican soccer, a little American soccer. A lot of local soccer, so yeah,
Nice.
you can find me.
100%. Oh, also, we're gonna start up again the COVID Community Shield Quarantine Cup. Are you
Yeah.
Are you back in?
Let's go, Mexico. Yeah, let's
All
do
right,
it.
Mexico is back in. Really excited. Your first entry. But again, really want to thank you for your time and check Cesar out. Great content on Twitter. Thank you for your time, man, and
All right, man.
stick around real quick.